Well, you guys asked for it, so you're going to get it. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys tips to help improve your cross, and in the end of the video, I'll be giving you guys 2 examples cross solves in which I walk you through how I solve my cross. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first tip I can give you guys is to make sure that you're solving your cross on the bottom instead of on the top, because this will avoid a rotation to go into F2L and it can save time. The second tip is to know all common inserts. For example, over here, our blue cross edge can be inserted in 3 moves in the most obvious way with R prime, F, R, and it can also be mirrored on the opposite side. And because it can be done so fast, it won't even feel like 3 moves. Our next tip is to ignore the center pieces and to try to make all your cross pieces work together. In other words, if you think about the cross as solving 4 individual pieces, then there's a high chance that your cross is inefficient and will look something like this. However, this can be improved. For example, because blue and orange are next to each other, instead of solving them individually, all we need to do is move blue down to the same layer as red with R. Now they're connected, so we can just solve them with D. Now, the orange cross edge and blue's cross edge are solved. So now, if I were to solve my whole cross, I would first start by doing, I would first hold it with this way, and then I would do B, which moves blue down over here. Then I would do L2, so now blue, orange, and red are all 1 move away from being solved. Then I would insert green into red slot with R prime FR. Now the entire cross is 1 move away from being solved with D. So this is why it's important to treat your cross as 4 pieces working together and ignore all the centers, because that way you can make your cross more efficient. The next tip is to use good cross pieces to avoid bad ones. A good cross piece is any piece that can be inserted in the cross in 1 move. For example, red's a good cross piece because it can be inserted like so. Orange is a good cross piece because it can be inserted like so. Green's a good cross piece because it can be inserted like so. But blue is the only cross piece that's a bad one because it requires more than 1 move to be solved, like this or like this. So, using that information, we can use a green cross edge and the red cross edge to make our cross efficient. For example, we could start by moving green into orange's slot and then do B prime to move orange into blue slot. So now, green and blue are both 1 move away from being solved, but more importantly, because we need to move the bottom layer to solve our cross, and blue is on the bottom layer, we can use a red cross piece to help solve blue, like so. So now, after we insert red, blue becomes a good cross piece, and we can solve it in the back. Another example happens in this case when orange is the only bad cross edge because it can't be solved in 1 move. And even though I talked about how it's an easy and fast insert earlier in the video, it's still a bad cross edge, and I talked about it because it's more of a last resort. So avoiding this bad cross piece is actually really easy because all we need to do is move orange on top of blue with U prime. Now, after we insert blue with R prime, orange becomes a good cross piece. So it can be inserted with F. Now the rest of the cross is easy. The last tip is to stop solving the easy cross pieces first. And the reason why this is important is because if you do solve the easy pieces first, it's harder to solve the rest because you have less freedom. For example, over here, orange can be solved in 1 move, which is R. But if we do that, it's harder to solve the cross. And if instead we don't do it and we just solve blue into green slot with L F prime, not only is our cross easier to solve now with D prime, R prime, D prime, but if you paid attention, it also sets up this pair that can easily be inserted in the back. So to end the video off, I'll just be doing 2 example solves where I just solve the cross, and let's just start off with this one. So currently all of our cross pieces are here, 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 and here. What I would do first is I would hold it like this. So then I would do B, which moves red here. Now after I do L2, and blue gets inserted here, green and blue are opposite of each other, and red is 1 move away from being inserted with F prime. So now these 2 pieces can be solved in 1 move, like so, and orange can just be solved like that. So the last one happens when our cross pieces are here, 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 and here. What I would do, I would hold it with, again, green in front. And I would first move green over here and blue and orange over here with D prime. So now, after we insert blue with L and red with F prime, these two cross pieces are one move away from being inserted, but more importantly, orange can also be inserted by moving the bottom layer to this side. Now, after we insert it, every single cross piece is two moves away from being solved with D2. Now our cross is solved. So that's about it for the video. I hope you guys found this informative. And if you did, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.